Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Bradley.
And this is the History Buffoons.
Hello.
Yes. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent.
It's a whirlwind outside today and yesterday. And
it's quite windy.
Yeah.
If you have old trees, be careful.
yeah, tell us what happened.
Well,
You have no tree anymore.
I'm sure we have some. Just not this particular one that was right in front of our house that luckily fell away from the house instead of towards the house. However, I currently had a car that I haven't been using but kind of wanted to sell. Well, let's just say we can't sell it anymore.
Yeah.
Because a tree fell on that and blew out the back window, fucked up the front windshield, dented the fuck out of the side.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Now it's scrap metal.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm gonna have to call a place to either donate and or scrap it.
Yeah,
and see if I can literally get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Which will probably be not much.
And if anyone has any tips on how to pick up shards of glass in a gravel driveway,
send it our way because we're gonna need to know. Because I'm gonna have to try and clear all that out. And yeah.
One of the Reddit posts said duct tape. And you suggested putting duct tape around your shoes and just clumping around out there with duct tape.
You know how quickly that would get gummed up with like the dust of the gravel driveway? I mean, it wouldn't work at all. So whoever suggested that, fuck off. Seriously. Duct tape.
Okay, so this is a little bit more of a somber episode, so I don't want to do too much embellishment here this morning. But briefly, we do have ourselves our classic gin and tonics.
We do.
Yes.
And I like how you said morning, so now people think we drink all day.
What'd I say?
You said this morning.
This morning. It's not morning. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. Wow. I just woke up from a nap, so maybe I did think it was morning. I don't know.
I just didn't want people thinking that we woke up. I woke up this morning and I grabbed myself a beer. That's such a good line from a song, by the way. Name that artist.
Garth Brooks?
The Doors. Garth Brooks.
I don't know.
Maybe it was Chris Gaines.
But so it is not the morning. It is the evening. And yeah, so we have our classic gin and tonics.
So I'm gonna take a cheers.
Yes, cheers to you. It's so delicious. One of my favorite beverages.
It's really so basic. A lot of people don't like gin and tonics. And
yeah.
I get it. But I actually rather enjoy them.
Yeah, I do too.
Plus, there's another good line from a different band in a song called from Oasis. Now I'm just drawing a blank on the line. It's like, give me gin and tonic. Literally the line is, I'm feeling supersonic. Give me gin and tonic.
Okay.
You could have it all, but how much do you want it?
Goofball. Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be happy because I know you're about to kill that mood. So
I'm about to kill it.
Let's bring it down. Think about the trees.
Yeah. So I actually do not have a question for you today. I'm just gonna kind of go into it.
Sure, that's fine.
So we're going to talk about the 1972 Munich Olympics.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Do you know it? You weren't born yet, but I'm sure you've heard.
No, I've heard of it. There's a movie with I think Christian Bale in it. Oh. Isn't it just called Munich?
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana. That's it.
Yeah.
Not Christian Bale. I'm sorry.
But yes, that is based off of this story. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just a week into the 1972 Munich Olympics, on the morning of September 5th, a group of Palestinian militants known as Black September took 11 Israeli athletes and staff hostage.
What do they do the other 11 months of the year?
Not a time for jokes. Jeez.
Are you sure? I mean, they got a tight window. 30 days is all they get a year.
So for 20 hours.
Okay. How many people? I'm sorry. How many people?
11 Israeli athletes. So like Olympians.
Yeah.
And their staff.
Wow. So a decent amount of people then.
Yes. So for 20 hours, this drama actually unfolded live on television.
That's wild.
Yeah. So there was also a botched police rescue.
Okay.
Which amplified the situation.
Sure.
And because it was broadcast live, the suspense pretty much grouped everybody. We're talking about millions, if not a billion people watching.
Right.
And it was stirring memories of past emotional events like the assassination of JFK in Dallas in 63. So
it was only 9 years earlier. So
yeah. And this time, these killings, because there are killings.
Well, yeah.
It happened in Munich, which is kind of the birthplace of Nazism, and these victims were Jewish.
Right. So they thought it was kind of tied to that or something.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the Israeli-Palestinian conflict a little bit to understand why Black September targeted these athletes. Okay. So it is actually one of the world's longest disputes. The conflict's origin traced back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries with the rise of Zionism, which is a movement for Jewish homeland, and Palestinian nationalism.
All right.
So both groups laid claim to the same territory under Ottoman and later British rule.
Sure.
So they were essentially fighting for this land. So in 1948, there was an Arab-Israeli war, and the establishment of Israel in 1948 triggered a war that resulted in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, creating a massive refugee crisis. Okay. And then after that, in 1967, there was the 6-Day War.
6-Day War.
Israelis' victory in this war resulted in its occupation of the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and other territories, further exacerbating this conflict and creating like a whole new wave of Palestinian refugees.
Sure.
Okay. Then we have the Palestine Liberation Organization, which is called the PLO. And that was formed in 1964, and it became the umbrella organization that represented the Palestine people.
Okay.
And it sought to establish a Palestinian state and employed various tactics, including armed struggles, essentially.
Yeah, right.
So, Black September in Jordan between 1970 and 1971, during 2 weeks of September, like continuous 2 weeks.
Sure.
King Hussein of Jordan, fearing the growing power of the PLO within its country, launched a military crackdown.
Oh dear.
That resulted in the deaths of thousands of Palestinians and the expulsion of the PLO from Jordan.
Okay.
So this event was called Black September.
Gotcha.
And it was a major blow for the Palestinians.
So did they just take their name from it, or is that just what...
They did.
Okay.
So a militant group called themselves Black September after the Jordan crackdown, and it was the largest faction of like the PLO, that organization.
Sure.
And its primary aim was to avenge the events in Jordan, and to draw international attention to the Palestinian cause.
Gotcha.
Okay. So Black September represented a more radical element within the Palestinian movement, willing to carry out some pretty high profile attacks.
Sure, I'm sure they wanted to.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to bring attention to them,
yes,
you don't want to do some random, stupid little whatever.
Yes.
You want to bring as much focus on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So their mission was essentially retaliation and to have 200 Palestinian prisoners released from Israeli jails.
Okay.
And they came into action at the 1972 Olympics.
I mean, it's really unfortunate they had to do it then. I understand why they did it then, though, because, again, they're looking for the most amount of visual
spectators.
Spectators to see what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And obviously the Olympics are very important to the world and so on and
to our society, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good place to do it, but that kind of sucks.
Yeah. So the 72 Munich Games marked Germany's first Olympics since the 1936 Berlin Games, which had been heavily criticized because it was used as a Nazi platform, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years, 2 years before, either way.
And then, so Germany is still like segregated at this time, West Germany and East Germany. So they weren't fully united yet until 1989, I think it was.
I think that sounds right.
Was it Reagan?
Yeah.
Was it Reagan? Yeah.
Yeah, tear down that wall.
Yeah. Mr. Gorbachev. Yeah.
Yeah.
So There was also a 1968 Mexico City Olympics. Just before those games, a peaceful student protest turned deadly with hundreds killed by government forces. That may be a future episode, so I'm not going to go into that right now.
Fair enough.
But so this was kind of Germany's chance to like, hey, we're going to do it. It's going to be great. We're all happy.
We're going to put our past in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
so
not.
In contrast to that,
Yeah.
Munich's organizers opted for a low profile security approach.
To try and make it seem more friendly?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. So they spent less than $2 million and they used a bunch of unarmed personnel, essentially.
that seems like a terrible fucking idea.
It was a crucial misstep.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, we wouldn't probably... I mean, there's a good chance we wouldn't be talking about this if they didn't go all cheapo on the security.
I read somewhere that it was less than 2 million then, whereas 2001 was something, or 2004 was something. Was it 4? 2004? Was that the last Olympics?
Where?
2022. That's what I'm talking about. Less than 2 million at the 74 Olympics versus the 2022 Olympics. And I don't remember the number, but it was massively different.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's 50 years, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
that's wild.
So according to a declassified Israeli report,
Okay.
the Israeli delegation had concerns about the lack of security, especially in their ground floor accommodations.
Oh, so easy pickings.
Yes.
Wow.
They noticed the lack of security personnel, but hoped that everybody was undercover.
That's wild.
Yeah. No, we weren't even doing that. Before the games, police psychologist Gregor Sieber was tasked with predicting potential security threats.
Predicting? Was he like a psychic?
He was a psychologist, yeah. But they have that now.
I know, like, I can predict. Like,
No.
something's going to happen.
No, they've got like crisis organizers and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that organize crises.
You know what I mean?
Crises?
So he outlined 26 different scenarios, including explosions and plane crashes, like pretty much this could happen and this could happen.
Sure.
And scenario 21
Oh, is what
was
happened?
eerily accurate.
Oh, dear.
Armed Palestinians breaching the Olympic Village, taking Israeli hostages, demanding prisoner releases, and then escaping to an Arab capital.
Wow. And that's ultimately...
That was
the gist
scenario
of it?
number 21, yes. And German organizers were like, no, let's tone this down, Sieber. Like, let's tone this down.
We don't want to raise any alarms
Yeah.
here.
So they argued that such extreme measures could only be prevented by canceling the games altogether.
And there's no way they were going to do that because of all the money involved.
Yes.
And such. And then Germany would look weak if they canceled it or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. So,
They're trying to save face.
yeah. And they pretty much messed up.
Yeah. So the 20th Olympiad
Yes.
began on August 26, 1972,
Okay.
with the West German organizers aiming for cheerful games.
Well, who doesn't want a good, cheerful game?
American swimmer Mark Spitz was making history.
I know that name, yeah.
He won 7 gold medals, a record that stood until Michael Phelps in 2008.
I was going to say that.
And he won 8, and Michael Phelps won 8.
I thought he won 9. It was only 8 that he won in that one?
That's the information I
Oh,
have.
that's fine, because I know he's got a boatload.
Maybe it was another game that he won more.
Yeah, I think he broke his own record or something. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I thought one of them he also won 9. But either way, I mean that's a lot of fucking medals.
So over 120 countries were in these games participating.
Right.
And for the first time, the Olympics were broadcast globally via satellite, reaching 1 billion viewers.
Wow.
For more than a week, the games proceeded without incident until the early hours of September 5th.
Yes. Remember the 5th of September?
At 4:30 a.m. Munich time,
Yeah.
8 Black September terrorists disguised as athletes scaled the unguarded fence of the Olympic Village.
Oh, Lord.
They were heavily armed with rifles, pistols, and grenades.
Wait, grenades? Jesus.
Yeah. While some Black September members were already in Germany, Israeli intelligence believed the attack was planned and trained in Syria.
Okay.
Israel also accused Syria of helping the Fedayeen, which is Arab guerrillas,
Okay.
obtain like German work permits for reconnaissance.
Oh, so they could kind of scope it out. And
Yes.
shit. Gotcha.
Yeah. So in the lead up to the games, members of the Black September arrived in Munich separately, surveying the Olympic Village and even obtaining jobs amongst the 30,000 workers.
Jesus.
Yeah. Athletes from Uruguay, whose quarters were next to the Israelis, recalled seeing all of these militants essentially as workers.
Right.
Yeah. So at 4:20 a.m., as the Olympic Village slept, the terrorists moved in.
Sure. Good time to do it because they know they're going to A, be there, and B, the people are sleeping, so
Yeah.
less to get in the way.
So 2 telephone linemen saw a group in tracksuits, aka athletic gear,
Yeah.
scaling the fence. They didn't think anything of it because it was actually a pretty common sight when athletes were running late. They would scale these fences to get where they needed to go.
Oh, good Lord.
So they
They just
didn't-
let it go.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just wild. That
Yeah.
maybe they should stop scaling the fences.
Once out of view of these men, the group revealed the weapons and headed towards the Israeli quarters.
Sure.
So the Israelis, they shared 5 apartments in like a 3-story building.
Okay.
And early that morning, the intruders, number unknown. Well, they said 8, but there's a little bit of conflict. But
Yeah.
they targeted apartment number 1.
Okay.
So wrestling coach Moshe Weinberg, 32 years old,
Wow.
half asleep, answered a knock on the door. A voice asked in German, "Is this the Israeli team?" Seeing that the men were armed, Weinberg tried to slam the door shut, yelling for his roommates to escape. He was immediately hit by submachine gunfire.
Oh, wow. So they went to town right away.
Yeah.
That's wild.
The same scene repeated in the second apartment.
Okay.
Wrestler,
So did this gunfire not wake other people up?
I actually didn't read anything about anyone else in the building.
Because I
I
feel
think
like
they might have had their own like
little
house
complex,
yeah, a 3-story complex with all these little apartments in it.
But even if let's say that's the case, how did the other rooms not get woken up by this gunfire? They just took out this German wrestler coach guy. Is that what you said?
Moshe Weinberg,
Yeah, he was
the wrestling coach.
yeah. So I mean, they just shot him, and no one heard that.
I didn't read anything about others being
That's wild.
yeah of that yeah. So
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
okay, so wrestler Yosef Romano, despite being on crutches
Oh, jeez.
from the competition injury,
Yeah.
fought back, attempting to disarm a terrorist with a knife.
Okay.
And he was fatally wounded.
Of course.
This is chilling. To demonstrate their brutality, the terrorists castrated Romano
Why?
and left his mutilated body as a warning.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, so this is pretty dark.
Yeah.
In apartment number 3, as the terrorists gathered more hostages and forced them towards apartment 1, they're like, let's just all go to apartment 1 to kind of keep tabs on everyone.
Sure.
Wrestler Gad Sobari broke free.
Okay.
He dashed down a flight of stairs towards an underground parking garage with bullets whizzing past him.
Oh, good Lord.
Meanwhile, back in apartment, supposedly he escaped.
Really?
Yes. Meanwhile, back in apartment 1, wrestling referee Josef Gutfrund.
Okay.
I'm so sorry about the pronunciations.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, you're not.
He was a large man. He held the door shut against 5 attackers. And shouting in Hebrew, he said, "Boys, get out."
Right.
But it was too late.
Oh,
The
dear.
door was forced open and the terrorists stormed in.
Ugh.
18 Israelis managed to escape the chaos,
Okay.
but 9 were taken hostage.
Wow.
They were bound hand and foot, grouped in threes, and forced onto a bed.
Okay.
The terrorists then dragged Moshe Weinberg's body onto the steps in front of the Israeli compound as a message to the German police and the world.
Jesus Christ. So, you said that 4:20 in the morning they started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at right now? Do you have a time frame?
Yes, so now we're about 6 a.m.
Okay, so it's only been going on for less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
I would imagine people are starting to wake up because it's the Olympics, things got to get done and so on, right? So
Yep.
when do people start realizing some shit's going down?
Closer to 9 o'clock, I think.
Holy shit, not till 9?
Yeah.
Late start? I mean...
Well, the people in the Olympic Village don't know.
Right.
The world, I think, is a different story, but I'm not sure on the timing of that. But 6 a.m., Munich police, alerted by the escaped Israelis, had arrived at the Olympic Village.
Okay.
A crisis center was set up in the village administration building, which was about 200 meters away.
Yeah.
Police Chief Manfred Schreiber quickly assembled 600 officers and armored cars to cordon off the area.
Jesus Christ.
An ambulance retrieved Moshe Weinberg's body at this point.
Well, he was dead, though.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, okay.
So he was the first man killed.
Yeah, he was the castrated one or whatever.
No, that was another wrestler.
That's
This
right.
was the wrestling coach.
Yeah, he was the one shot.
Yes,
Okay.
for initially holding
I
the
mixed
door
them up.
closed. That's okay. And there's a lot of people in here.
Yeah, and I'm not going to remember all the names.
No. Shortly after Police Chief Schreiber boldly approached the apartment, he was met by Lutif Afif,
Okay.
which is the group's leader, the Black September group leader, who was wearing a white tennis hat, sunglasses, and his face was blackened. So he probably had like a hood on or something.
Sure.
And Schreiber considered grabbing Afif, but was deterred when Afif revealed a hand grenade,
Oh, yeah.
thumb on the pin, asking, "Do you want to take me?" Like taunting him.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly went in there and they wanted to cause some mischief,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And that's just being a really tame word, but clearly they were ready to go, too.
They were.
If they needed to be.
Yeah.
So,
At 9 a.m., the terrorists threw a message out a window demanding the release of 234 Arab prisoners held in Israeli jails.
wow.
The list also included German leftist terrorists and a Japanese terrorist involved in the Lod Airport massacre. Now, same year, 1972,
Yeah.
Lod Airport massacre was a terrorist attack by 3 Japanese Red Army members recruited by the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine External Operations.
Okay.
They condensed it into the acronym PFLPEO.
That's still a lot.
Yeah. So they opened fire at Lod Airport, killing 26 and injuring 80.
Good Lord.
And one attacker was captured, the others killed, causing a bunch of outrage. So
Right.
at this time, ironically, 400 yards away, the Olympic Games were going on.
Isn't that crazy to think that they kept going with it?
2,000 fans were cheering at a volleyball game between West Germany and Japan, completely unawares.
Yeah, it's just strange to think about
Yeah,
that these people could be that unaware of what's going on
right next door.
400 yards, you said?
Yeah,
Away. And, yeah, let's watch some volleyball and cheer.
yeah, they had no
All
idea.
these people are getting killed and held hostage. That's just wild.
So the Palestinians demanded that their prisoners, that they and their prisoners be flown out of West Germany
Okay.
to the Arab nation, to any Arab nation. They're like, we don't care, just get us
get
over
us outta
there.
here, yeah.
They actually did specify not Lebanon or Jordan.
Oh, so they did not want to go to those two. Okay.
And they wanted 3 airplanes
Okay.
departing at different intervals. And the authorities had 3 hours until noon at this point
Jesus.
to comply, or the hostages would be executed 2 every 30 minutes.
What? Oh, okay.
A hotline was established between Munich and Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir and her advisors quickly decided no negotiations with terrorists, no prisoner releases, full responsibility for rescue actions given to the Germans, and no objection to safe passage for the terrorists if the hostages were guaranteed release.
Okay.
So we do not negotiate with terrorisms. Terrorisms? Terrorists.
Terrorisms. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a stance for a lot of countries. They don't negotiate with terrorists because then it just gives them...
Yeah.
It gives more people reason just to do terrorist acts.
So West German Interior Minister Hans-Dietrich Genscher was fairly limited in his options.
Well, yeah, his hands are kind of tied.
He personally bargained with the terrorists, offering unlimited money for the hostages' release, which was rejected.
Okay.
And then he offered himself and other German officials, hopefully with their knowing, as hostages.
I mean, I would hope
but was also rejected.
Did they reject him because they wanted to make a statement with these Israeli people?
I'm assuming it's the less movement of these hostages, the better.
Sure.
Because if there's any kind of exchange, things can go down, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the minister did stall for time, but he falsely promoted. He falsely promised to persuade Israeli to release these prisoners. Like he told him, "Okay, we're going to do it."
Yeah.
In reality, the Germans believed the hostages' fate were already sealed, so he's probably like, "This isn't even going to work," but I'm going to lie to him anyway.
Sure.
So Genscher boldly demanded to see these hostages. He was taken to a bedroom, and he saw the 9 men bound.
Wow.
And one said that they were doing okay.
Okay.
At Genscher's pleading, the Palestinians pushed back the execution deadline to 5 p.m. instead of noon.
Okay.
Ultimately changing it a matter of 4 different times.
Sure.
But it ended up being 5 p.m.
Gotcha.
So West German authorities deployed 15 volunteer police sharpshooters wearing armored vests under athletic uniforms.
Okay.
They were tracked by zoom lens television cameras from the Olympic TV tower.
That's wild.
Broadcasting live to the world and to the terrorists themselves.
Why would they broadcast that to the world?
I don't know.
I just want your opinion. Because, I mean, why would you want to show that to everybody? Because shit could go south real quick with what's going on.
I know.
And why would you want to show people that on TV?
I know.
I get not trying to hide it. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But do you really? I wouldn't want to watch some person live get killed on TV.
I've actually seen that.
Have you?
Yeah. It was when I was working at Audible in the mid 2000s, like 2015, something like that. And Shep from Fox News, Shep something. That was the anchor man, Shep something. But Fox News was always on. And there was like a developing story of a car chase.
Sure.
And the guy got out, and they can see the live broadcast a couple seconds before the rest of the world does.
Okay.
So they can see like what's coming, that they can like shut off the live feed or whatever if needed.
Yeah.
They didn't get to it in time.
Oh.
And the driver of the car that was doing the high car chase, he got out and he essentially shot himself on live TV.
That's wild.
And Shep was like, right before it happened, he said, shut it off, shut it off, shut it off. Like it wasn't enough time. Like he saw this only seconds before and he kept saying, shut it off, shut it off, shut it off.
Yeah.
And then it happened. And then it went to commercial. He came back on and was like, I'm so sorry you all saw that. That wasn't supposed to happen. This is how we set that up. Like we have seconds to see this before it's aired. And
yep. Have you ever heard of the song Hey Man, Nice Shot by the band Filter?
No.
It came out in, I believe, 95, I want to say, 94. I think it was 95. I saw them at Summerfest in 1995. That song, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but basically the whole gist of the basis of that song is it a congressman or something like that was giving a speech on TV and he shot himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just fucking wild.
It is wild, yeah.
That someone would go to that lengths to do that for, I don't know. I mean, whatever. Anyways, it's a really good song.
So, American television producer, announcer. He was an announcer. He was an announcer for ABC Sports. Okay. His name is Jim McKay. He provided a live 16-hour play-by-play coverage of the crisis.
Wow.
So initially, live television coverage was switched off, hoping to give the sharpshooters an advantage as they moved into position.
Sure.
Because the terrorists were also watching.
Well, yeah.
But they couldn't get clear enough targets. If the sharpshooter took out one captor, the others inside would likely retaliate against the hostages. And then at this time, they just showed the world what was happening.
Yeah.
And crowds were drawn by this live report, gathered around this area. German Olympic hostess boldly approached the apartment, spotted a terrorist peeking out,
Jesus.
Urged him in English to surrender, promising no harm. He quickly refused.
Well, of course.
Mm-hmm. And then a large group of young Jewish individuals broke through police lines, singing Hatkeva, which is the Israeli national anthem.
Okay.
Followed by We Shall Overcome, which is another song. Mm-hmm. Amidst all these sirens and hovering helicopters. And I guess it was just for the hostages. They were hey, we're here.
We're thinking about you.
Yeah.
I mean.
Thoughts and prayers.
Oh, God. That is such a good Anthony Jeselnik special, by the way.
So West German authorities had already made a crucial decision. They would not allow the terrorists to fly away with the hostages.
Yeah.
The chancellor deemed it unacceptable for an honorable nation, emphasizing their responsibility for the Israeli safety. Okay. Realizing that they couldn't stall the increasingly agitated terrorists much longer, both sides needed a new plan.
Sure.
The terrorists and hostages would be transported to Munich's airport and flown out on a Lufthansa.
Can you try it again?
Lufthansa. I think it's
Lufthansa.
Yeah. What is that? Is that an airport?
It's an airline.
Airline. Yeah.
Yeah.
That word. Lufthansa.
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 I've made you watch Goodfellas once before, right?
Yeah.
The part, one of the whole big things is the Lufthansa heist. Now you're making me fucking say it wrong.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's an airline, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
so.
like a Delta or a Southwest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lufthansa.
There it is.
Flight number 727.
Oh, good number.
With Cairo as their destination.
Okay. Gonna go see some pyramids?
Their new deadline was 7 p.m.
Moved it back again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the 727 had flown to a West German air base about 60 miles from Munich.
Yeah.
No crew was willing to fly this plane.
Well, can you blame them?
No.
They didn't want to be a part of this.
That didn't matter. The Germans never intended them to leave anyway.
No, they were just basically doing it for show, right?
Yeah. So plans were underway to just deploy sharpshooters to the air base, hoping a sniper could eliminate the leader.
Sure.
Prompting the others to surrender.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I see the logic, but probably poor.
Yes. So Black September also misled everyone about their destination.
Oh.
Upon reaching the airfield, they demanded an 8-person crew, revealing their final destination after takeoff. So we don't actually know where they were going to go.
We don't know where they actually wanted to go.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Nearly 18 hours after the assault began, the 8 terrorists with their blindfolded hostages tied together were led out of the building and onto a German army bus.
Okay.
They were driven through a tunnel to a makeshift helicopter pad 275 meters away.
All right.
They boarded 2 helicopters for a 25-minute flight to the airport.
Gotcha.
And then was preceded by a 3rd helicopter carrying German officials and Israeli intelligence.
And they were taking them to the Munich airport.
It was a German base airport,
Oh,
but
okay.
yes,
Gotcha.
essentially.
Gotcha.
At the airport, 500 soldiers were deployed.
Oh, Jesus.
Only 5 sharpshooters were positioned to take out 8 terrorists.
They couldn't find 3 more?
I guess not.
That sucks. I mean, I feel like I understand they're kind of trying to figure this out on the fly, but damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the helicopters landed, 2 terrorists checked the 727.
Okay.
2 more then ordered the helicopter crews out, violating their promise not to use Germans as hostages.
Oh, Jesus.
The 5 sharpshooters, 3 in the control tower and 2 on the field, were instructed to fire when the terrorists presented the most targets. The terrorists never exposed more than 4 at once.
Sure.
Adding to the problem,
Right.
the local police sharpshooters declined infrared scopes offered by the Army, relying on regular scopes in a flood-lit shadow-filled field. Shadow-filled field.
There it is. Why?
I don't know.
Fucking idiots. Good Lord. I mean, because you said this is at 10 o'clock,
Yes.
right?
Under the cloak of night.
It's nighttime. The only way you're going to have lights is obviously artificial lights. Mm-hmm. Causes a lot more shadows, too.
A lot of shadows.
And, oh, wow. Pretty dumb to deny wanting, though. Like, no, we're good. We got
Yeah.
this.
Sharpshooters not so sharp.
Hey-oh.
So, moments later, a sniper fired,
Oh, shit.
followed by the others. So, chaotic gunfire erupted. 2 terrorists guarding the helicopter crews were hit,
Okay.
and a pilot was wounded.
Oh, dear.
A 3rd terrorist on the tarmac was killed.
Okay.
The leader, in his tennis hat and blackened face, dove under a helicopter and returned fire.
Oh, dear.
And he disabled the control tower's lights and radio.
Oh, wow.
A Munich police sergeant taking cover by the control tower was killed.
Oh, jeez.
Meanwhile, the Israeli hostages remained in the helicopter surrounded by this gunfire.
Sure.
A terrorist threw a hand grenade into one of the helicopters, killing the 5 of the hostages inside.
Good Lord.
The remaining hostages in the 2nd helicopter were machine gunned to death.
Oh. So all the hostages were killed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And surprisingly, the battle of this gunfire continued for another hour.
I'm not surprised. I mean, they probably didn't know that those people are dead.
Yeah.
It's not like they're just going to like, well, lost her shot. Let's go home, folks. I mean, obviously it's not like that. So, that's terrible.
So 5 terrorists, including the leader, were killed.
Yep.
And 3 surrendered.
Well, I would imagine.
So get this. False rumors spread that all the terrorists were captured and all the hostages were alive.
Who would spread that fucking rumor? Because that's a dick move to do.
And this was broadcast live. So like the constant narration of what's happening.
Right.
So it prompted premature celebrations in Israel.
Sure.
And 4 hours later, German authorities admitted that the news was a mistake.
Right.
I'm not sure how it became a mistake, but
That's wild that people would allow that to get out. But
they had captured 3 terrorists, the
Yes.
ones who surrendered, 2 of whom were wounded, but their identities were unknown. Their pictures were broadcast to identify them and trace their movements.
okay.
Black September demanded their release, threatening further attacks.
Of course they did.
The morning after the murders, 80,000 people attended a memorial service in the Olympic Stadium.
Wow.
Their surviving Israeli team, heavily guarded,
Sure.
sat with the other athletes.
Wow.
The stadium was draped in black, and for the first time in Olympic history, the flags of all 122 nations and the Olympic flag flew at half-mast.
That's crazy.
Munich's Philharmonic Orchestra played the somber funeral march from Beethoven's Symphony No. 3.
Okay.
But a question kind of hung in the air.
Yeah.
Should the games continue?
Well, yeah. I mean, you would think like life goes on, but at the same time, we kind of fucked up.
Avery Brundage, an 84-year-old who was retiring, not quite, but retiring, as IOC chair, the International Olympic Committee,
Yep.
declared, quote, "The games must go on."
Yeah, because he's a dick. And they don't want to not make their money.
The stadium crowd cheered.
Of course they did, because they're like, resilience.
So one obvious factor was the desire to deny the terrorists the satisfaction of halting the Olympics.
I understand that.
Yeah, but it is kind of troubling.
But that's not what the terrorists were going for. They weren't going to stop the
Stop the
Olympics. They were
Olympics, yeah.
going to be like, hey, look at us. We're going to fuck these people up because of the conflict we've been having for forever, basically.
So the Israeli government protested that the games should be suspended while Israeli mourned its Olympic dead.
Yeah.
Many felt the tragedy was too immense for the games to continue. Yet with the Israeli government and the Olympic team, IOC endorsement,
Yep.
they continued.
Of course.
So once the fundamental decisions were made, no prisoner release in Israel, no allowing the terrorists to leave with hostages, force was the only remaining option.
Sure.
The decision against a prisoner exchange was Israel's, while the final ambush was based on West Germany's belief that the terrorists would kill the hostages elsewhere.
Right.
So the terrorists had threatened to execute them the following morning if prisoners weren't released.
Right.
While this was likely Black September's intent, there was some doubt. They had ignored previous deadlines, and the hostages were arguably more valuable alive rather than dead.
You would think so.
Yeah. The true failure, however, lay in the preventable lack of security.
Well, I mean, that's just such a fucking misstep of whatever.
And obviously the botched execution of the rescue plan.
Well, of course, but like the fact that they were so understaffed or whatever you want to call it for security to spend only $2 million for this Olympics when you got all these different countries, they all don't get along, clearly. And excuse me. And you have just minimal fucking security that would allow this. Like, this could have been clearly preventable because, or at least it would have went a way different way.
Way different, yeah.
Because, hey, these people that we don't know are coming in. Let's get them. Bullshit. Whatever you want to say. But wow.
Hey, I've got that number. Olympic security, less than $2 million in 72, is now over $1 billion in 2021.
Isn't that crazy? How much is $2 million in today money?
15 million.
So $1 billion to 15 million. I mean, that's holy shit. Delete.
I had to do the 3 zeros and the comma.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Let's not talk about that. Okay.
Well, we're going to hash it out later.
So, a month after the Munich massacre, another Palestinian terrorist group hijacked Lufthansa Flight 615, demanding the release of the 3 surviving Black September members.
Oh, Jesus.
West Germany complied.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking bitches.
In response, Israel launched Operation Wrath of God.
That is a cool fucking name.
Authorizing to track down and eliminate those responsible for the Munich massacre, which they did.
Good.
Yes.
Because that's horseshit.
So, in Munich's Olympic Park, there is an official memorial site dedicated to the victims.
Okay.
This site provides information about the events and commemorates those who lost their lives.
Sure.
Now, as mentioned early on, Steven Spielberg's 2005 film Munich does portray these events.
Okay.
It stars Eric Bana, Daniel Craig.
Oh, that's right. He is in there.
And Jeffrey Rush.
Oh, I like him too.
Yeah. There is also a newly released movie from 2024 called September 5th, starring Peter Sarsgaard.
Yes, because it's funny because you kept bringing up the date. Yes, I saw that just came out because I go to Sarah. Hey, look it. We should see this movie. Why? Because it's our son's birthday.
Well, that movie, September 5th, is about the journalist Jim McKay, who televised for 16 hours straight.
Oh, it's a different perspective then.
It is.
Gotcha. That's kind of cool.
I think the majority of the film, like 95% of the film, is taking place inside like the control booth.
The booth.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of give you a brief recap of an interview that Jim McKay did.
While on air?
Yeah, no, just an interview
after
years
the
later.
fact?
Yeah,
Okay.
years later.
Gotcha.
He actually had like a 3-hour interview, and this was just a section of it.
Sure.
And I'm going to recap that section. So
Okay.
I will also link that video in my show notes.
Sure.
So Jim McKay was not the primary host of the Olympic game coverage.
Okay.
He was over there with his
Right.
wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Chris Schenkel held that role for a nightly 3-hour show.
Gotcha.
However, one morning, his day off,
Of course.
he received a call where it was relayed to him, quote, "Terrorists have invaded the Israeli team headquarters, Jim. They've killed one man already. They're threatening to kill one every hour. We want you to stand by. We'll be going on the air. We want you to host the show," end quote.
The show.
So he's on standby. He doesn't know what to do. So what does he do instead? He does what he does every single morning before work. He goes to the pool for laps.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't know what to do.
He doesn't know what to
He's
do at this
waiting
point.
in the wings at this moment.
Yeah. So then he does receive a follow-up call.
Okay.
Quote, "Jim, get on your horse and get out here. We're going on the air in 45 minutes.
He had a horse?
I think it was just a figure speech.
Was it a thoroughbred? Maybe a quarter horse?
So Jim rushed to the studio. He found that the team had already set up a single camera, the only one that would have 16 hours of documented reels.
Isn't it wild that there's like photographic, whatever you want to call, evidence of all this? Because they like, let's film it.
Yeah.
That's just,
Yeah.
to think about that is just fucking weird.
So during the broadcast, he became acutely aware of David Berger. He was an American-Israeli weightlifter
Okay.
from Shaker Heights, Ohio.
Okay.
He said, quote, "I thought I'm going to be the guy to tell that family in Shaker Heights, Ohio, whether their son and brother is alive or dead," end quote.
So,
Ultimately, he did have to deliver that news.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the ones that,
Yep.
okay.
So Jim emphasized that his background in newspaper reporting prepared him for the factual aspects of this particular broadcast because he was in sports.
Sure.
But he started off just as every other journalist,
Right.
reporting the facts. So he says, quote, "Reporting is reporting. It's basically the same thing, telling the facts of what have happened here and is happening here, and also giving something of the flavor of what it feels like to be here at this point.
Sure.
The idea of telling these people that all these men were dead, of course I did it. It was one of the most terrible moments of my life," end quote.
I can't imagine it was, it wasn't, because could you imagine being there like, yep, more people are dead.
Yeah.
More people are dead. It's like, fuck that, man. That sucks.
The broadcast involved live reporting from Peter Jennings.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
He was in the Olympic Village at this time.
Okay.
Jennings was also available to provide crucial information via some weird, like, complex communication setup.
Okay.
Yeah. A producer also infiltrated the village equipped with a 16 millimeter camera.
Jeez.
Quote, "I knew this one building was exactly facing the building where they were held," the producer stated, describing him coming like essentially face to face with a terrorist.
Sure.
So the day was filled with tension, evolving deadlines. And Jim says, quote, "When I was a kid, my father always told me that our greatest hopes and our worst fears were seldom realized.
Okay.
Tonight, our worst fears have been realized."
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing shit unfold real time and not a great outcome.
Yeah. So Jim described the chaotic aftermath, including the false report that the hostage rescue was
successful.
Yeah. So upon returning to his hotel room, like they wrapped up, upon returning to his hotel room, his wife, who was sleeping at the time,
Yeah.
he woke up and she was like, "I'm just so glad that everybody made it out safe." And he goes, No, they're all dead.
Yeah.
He got 2 hours of sleep that night.
Jeez.
Then he had to prepare for the memorial service.
Right.
He found a note from Walter Cronkite.
Oh, Good old Walter.
And it said, quote, Jim, you were a credit to your network, to your medium, and to yourself, end quote.
I mean, that's pretty good coming from Walter Cronkite. He was looked at as a very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Prestigious public figure.
Yeah, because he was on the news for ever, if I remember right. So Walter Cronkite.
So that was the September 5th movie. September 5 is really what it says, but it's based on Jim McKay's broadcasting.
It's
and
funny
then Munich is based on the actual.
I just saw that come out, like I said. I didn't look into it. I just saw the title or something, whatever it was. I had no idea that those were linked together. So that's wild.
But that is the tragic story of the 1972 Israeli Olympic massacre.
Way to bring down the mood.
Sorry about the somberness, but this is a really interesting story.
It is, yeah. It's really sad that, obviously, again, played out like it did.
Yeah.
It's sad that I understand why they picked the platform they did it on. Is that the right word I'm looking? Not really platform. Because more eyes were on it. So I understand that.
Yeah.
But, man, what a dick move.
Well, let's cheers with your nearly empty gin and tonic.
Nearly.
Cheers.
Water.
Welp.
I suppose. All right, buffoons. That's it for today's episode.
Buckle up because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore?
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com. We are Bradley and Kate. Music by Corey Akers.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.